Do you guys think hookup culture is ruining those genuine relationships?
It is. That's why Huitone sounds like this.
I don't think it really is ruining it.
Of course he wouldn't.
Let me tell you why. I think hookup culture, and I think we spoke about this, but I think hookup culture is very straightforward. It prevents heartbreak. It prevents lies. It prevents the bullshit. Rather know what you're going in there for.
He sounds very for it.
You know,
No, I'm just saying, but it makes sense. It only
But
makes
I
sense.
was finally a bad judge of character like that girls. You always misjudge your character.
Nah?
I will speak for all girls, but I'll speak for myself. I would say I agree.
Misjudge your character. And you think, this guy looks like a good guy.
He makes me feel
Next thing he doesn't
good.
even tell you he's got 6 kids.
Yo.
He's not even taking care of any of them.
Besides that, do you guys think that cancel culture in 2025 still actually holds people accountable, or it just ruins people's reputation?
For me, in theory, cancel culture is an effective tool, right? However, I think it's being misused.
A lot.
The things that we need to apply the cancel culture on, we don't.
We no longer
The
focus.
things that we shouldn't, we do.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense, because if cancel culture was that effective, there's a lot of things that we cry about each and every single day.
That are important.
Number one, we should have cancelled ANC long time ago.
Yeah.
Don't complain.
That being said, do you guys feel like people should be held accountable for their past mistakes, or should we just give them grace?
So
That's a tough one.
if your past mistake was dealt with then why should we bring it up again?
Some people still want to bring it up over and over and over. Like,
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, for instance, I'm gonna mention Joop Joop. Joop Joop.
do you guys feel that it's okay for society to normalize choosing to be single and child free? You know, in this new generation, Gen Z, they are now choosing to be child free and to be single. Do you think that is good for society and the human race as a
It's not.
whole?
Definitely.
It's not.
Definitely.
Why do you think it's good
But
to?
not having enough opportunities to have a job to provide for this kid is not a reason for me not to have this kid. It's definitely not reason.
Fuck.
And
I think people that come with that statement, or they don't want kids and they prefer to be single. It's
a
people
phase.
at their peak. Like, they're
phase.
still very young, so they enjoy friends and all that. But what happens now? We're in our 50s. We all have our families, and she's single, doesn't have any kids.
That'll be fucked up. But anyway.
to what? There's more people that are having genuine relationships, but because Umjolo is a pandemic, is so highlighted on social media, it looks like that's all it is. That time there's more people that are in genuine relationships.
To a
Meaning,
point-
there's more people.
Silenza opening.
No, he's gonna do it.
Okay.
Well, that was going to be part of this episode until he said,
Ah.
what the fuck?
Ufedile.
What the
Ufedile ka lona.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It had to be.
And I look guilty.
Yeah, you're fucking guilty, man. You're guilty as fuck. Right now, you're very guilty.
Shit.
But we will forgive you. I don't know if they will. Hello, Global Streetz Squad. We are in the building as always, as a matter of routine. My name is Witty. I've got Lesego with me. I've got Kagiso with me. We have Neo here today. It is going to be another steamy session where we just dive into so many things that are just part of our daily lives that you guys obviously just enjoying or enjoy tapping into. So, we appreciate the subscribing that has been taking place. Please tell a friend to tell another friend that we are in the streets and we will always be. So, I'm going to ask that you guys just give me a bit of a briefing of how you have been.
We have been okay.
You've been okay.
Been okay.
All right.
Can't complain.
Now, how have you been?
Yeah, I've been okay. I can't really complain.
Okay.
Yeah, can't complain every day. Some days I have to force to be okay.
Oh,
yeah, but most days I'm doing good.
yeah, it's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Jesus. So how have you been? It's a tough world we're living in. Yes, bro, this world is intense.
As long as it's on Fagasu Cape.
What do you think, sir?
I can't hear what this guy's saying. Yeah, that's what I heard as well. What is that?
As long as it's on Fagasu Cape, I go on.
Is that a African proverb or Zulu
Yeah, it sounds
proverb?
like
What does it mean?
Tribal,
No, as long as it's
Chant.
on Fagasu Cape, umoya sisaphefumula.
What? It's
I
a
think-
beautiful language, sir.
I think this guy's...
Zulu?
What does it mean? What does
I
it
don't think
mean?
this
Honestly,
guy
what
is-
does it mean?
As long as it's on Fagasu Cape, umoya. It
Interesting.
means as long as it's a ham.
As long as we are still here, basically.
As long as we're still breathing.
Still breathing. That's what it means.
I know it sounded like something else. This is our Fagasu Cape.
Wow. I just hope he's not swearing at us. All right, let's get into it.
Nobody can see.
Nobody's safe, yeah. Nobody's safe.
All right, so on the canceling topic, do you guys think that cancel culture in 2025 still actually holds people accountable, or it just ruins people's reputation?
Cancel?
Instead of canceling people, just cancel our dates.
Cancel culture must go after our banks and say, ever fair to, if this man bought a house for 6 million, cancel that shit. We're studying after that shit.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think people should
Nah,
now
that is so
direct
true.
it on actually things that are important to people than just wanting to
Yeah.
just cancel people or for what they say. I mean, it's good to hold people accountable for the wrong things that they say or do, but I just feel like these days people are just out to cancel
ruin-
people.
to ruin people.
Yeah, to ruin people. Because now, back then when cancel culture started, like, you would understand, okay, this person was just trash, and then I would understand why they would cancel that person. But now it's like people are just targeting even the dumbest things,
Yeah, they're being
To-
petty about it.
petty about it.
Yeah. No, I do agree, or I am in my view of it is that it's the smallest thing just gets misinterpreted and it gets blown out of proportion so much that you end up looking like a person that you actually aren't, They will paint you. And one thing I've also just picked up in just social media as a whole, and this is also just looking at how the actual media that maybe tells the stories, that gives the briefing on the people, how they paint the picture is always just how people will see you. And if they go with the notion of saying, okay, now this person is bad, everybody's going to see you bad.
And
It's just unfortunately going to be small group of people who are able to probably see through the bullshit. But once they paint you in a certain way, then that's exactly how you'll always be seen. And I see a lot of high profiles, you know, even maybe people who had just started getting cancelled. And yeah, I think in most cases it is either sabotage or just like we say, it's just to tarnish your name. You know, it's not necessarily something that we would say you deserve to be cancelled for.
And I,
You know, sorry to disturb you now. For me, in theory, cancel culture it's an effective tool, right? However, I think it's being misused.
a lot.
The things that we need to apply the cancel culture on, we don't.
We no longer
And the
focus.
things that we shouldn't, we do.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense, because if cancel culture was that effective, there's a lot of things that we cry about each and every single day.
That are important.
Number one, we should have cancelled ANC long time ago.
Yeah. Long
We
time
complain
ago.
about each and every single service delivery thing, but NC is still the fucking ruling party, which means that this cancel culture is not really that effective. However, if you do come across something or someone that is getting cancelled, you don't even understand why they're getting cancelled. You're
But
just
you're
gonna
for it.
join
Yeah.
on the bandwagon, and then you canceling the guy only to find out that the guy probably has an explanation of why they did what they
Yeah.
did. So we are applying this cancel culture thing on wrong things. Where we supposed to come together now and cancel this thing, we do not.
Because the way in which cancel culture started was to mainly focus on basically the wrongdoings of not only people, but businesses and other things that were really, really, if we look at it, were really damaging at that time when cancel culture started. But now, as Lisoko was saying, I feel like it's being misused.
Yeah.
Even, for example, like if I were to tweet something, it's like people intentionally want to misunderstand what you say.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they understand how of an effective tool cancel culture is, then they want to use that because they want to push their own agenda. I don't like Hoitsi, so whatever he says, I'm going to misinterpret it. Kama boom, and they even to a point where they recruit people to come and
To do that job.
to do that.
True.
And it's like, is it really cancel culture or is just people projecting?
No, it's maliciousness. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's just malicious intent. They are deliberately just wanting to shut you out, to close you, and to just destroy you. Because unfortunately, we live in a time where most of us are on our screens. you
Yeah.
know? So one thing I've also realized, and this is in the Twitter side of life, it's very easy to be behind the phone in your house, in your comfort, and just chat and say something stupid. Most accounts that are probably even open on Twitter, they don't even have faces. So you can't necessarily say, this individual is Huisi, he looks like this is what he said. So it's easy for you to just quickly talk nonsense about a particular person. I mean, even if you look at a lot of threads and comments and you name it, most people who are commenting, or let me rather say maybe 60% of people who are commenting, their profiles do not necessarily have their faces on them. So it's like being behind a mask.
Like
If
a-
you're not seen,
Like
you
a
can
ghost
literally
account.
say anything. And you know the theory behind being behind a mask. People who are normally behind masks are most savage, are most not themselves. So they literally associate people who are behind a mask with just evil intent. Because you're behind this mask, nobody's seeing you, meaning you are not going to be held accountable for anything that you do. And it's the same thing on the Twitter platforms or all the other social media platforms, to say those that are behind those masks, or those that are not actually visible, to say, okay, this is who said this. They are easy to just say anything that is painful, that is brutal, that is to destroy, without receiving the necessary maybe consequences for that particular thing.
And the other thing just to add on this thing is that sometimes for this cancel culture, for it to be activated, you just need to pay someone that has more followers.
Yeah.
For an example, Chris Excel during the elections last year, he said he got an offer of 25,000 from one of the parties so that he can just go at Jacob Zuma and MK, and he declined it. He was like, I'm not gonna go at my goat. That's my goat.
Yeah.
So if he actually activated that thing and actually took the money,
It was going to paint a
it
certain
was going
image.
to start being a
Yeah.
cancel culture. People were going to bring up all of these cases. That's Jacob Zuma.
Yeah.
That time, everyone knows about those cases, but no one is saying anything about them.
True.
But just because someone that has more followers is saying something about it, now
will
it's going
spark.
to be a cancel culture moment.
And they know what type of influence he has. Whatever he says, even if it's a simple sentence, if it
Exactly.
involves this person's name, they know that all his followers are going to actually listen to what he's saying.
And then it's going to start
It's going to
trending.
start being
Yeah.
a big thing. It's,
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Service delivery. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just sometimes wrong people want to use it as a tool.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
In the case, that's when it starts becoming tough.
and I feel like sometimes people use cancel culture as a rage bait. You know, some people know that some topics are sensitive. They're
Yeah.
gonna use that topic, knowing very well that some people are very sensitive to that particular
topic. Yeah.
and
True.
obviously it's gonna cause a lot of spark. A lot
Yeah.
of people are gonna be so
One-sided.
upset.
And,
Yeah, so like a example, the ones one thing I've noticed, like example on TikTok, you know, when people mention South Africa, just the our
Yeah.
country's name,
I've seen that too.
no matter what topic, good or bad, they know that we're going to show up in numbers as South Africans to come and, you know, comment on
Yeah.
that post. So I feel like a lot of people, even people from overseas, they just
Everywhere.
everywhere they started using, you know, South Africa as that center of their topic in that particular video, knowing that we're going to show up in numbers, knowing that we're going to cause traffic in their profile.
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel like they just come on and just say something so stupid.
Yeah.
Knowing that we're going to react to it because we
Yeah.
love our country as South Africans. We're going to show up. So sometimes some people just want to use that just to use it as a rage bait,
Just to
knowing
draw,
that, you
yeah.
know, they just want engagement in a way
yeah.
on their profile. So that being said, do you guys feel like people should be held accountable for their past mistakes? Or should we just give them grace?
So,
That's a
if
tough one.
if your past mistake was dealt with then why should we bring it up again?
Some people still want to bring it up over and over and over. Like,
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, for instance, nah, I'm gonna mention Joop Joop. Nah, Joop Joop had an incident, and he went to serve time for this particular incident that took place. Nah, yes, in this case, he was an accomplice, and that's why he was actually in it. Antoine, he went to serve, nah, and that was him paying for his.
He was not
bad-
an accomplice.
he was actually the perpetrator.
Was he the actual?
He was the
perpetrator?
perpetrator in the whole
Both
situation.
of them.
Really?
Both
Him and
of
his
them.
friend.
Four
Yeah,
pro.
no, 4. No, some of them, they got brain damaged. So they can't function as a normal human being. Yeah, I think about 4
Four
died.
died.
12.
Nah, not 12 though. Maybe 4. I just don't have the number, but not 12.
Yeah. But anyway, what I'm getting to here is that he served time, he got what we would regard as just you
Punishment.
paying for what you did.
Sure.
Antoine. So what does this mean? Does it mean he should now be looked at with this eye to say, no, you don't deserve to be anything out there, should he still be punished? So is this like a lifetime punishment that we are now?
If your action caused lifetime hurt,
Then your thing should be, your punishment should be lifetime.
A parent who's looking after a brain damaged child. That's lifetime, bro.
Yeah, it is
So
lifetime.
you buried your only child that you had because this person decided to smoke cocaine and have
Yeah.
a stable residential. Because you still 5-10 years doesn't
Erase that.
erase that. So who is to say who that person who got hurt by whatever you had caused? They're not allowed to rant for as long as that is still hurting them.
And I'm pretty sure it's even traumatizing to actually see that person on TV
Yeah, well, I guess
And flourish.
and flourish.
it is. That's why it's a bit of a
It's a tough
bit of
one.
a tough one
Because
to
it depends.
try and determine, because now you go back and ask yourself, who's determining the punishment for this particular person? Is this punishment enough that he went through? How do they govern that particular time frame was worth whatever that had taken place in
Okay,
return?
let's use
So-
another. Sorry, let's use another example. Let's say you're in a relationship, ne? You cheat. So now, is it okay? And then you and your partner, you talk about it, get through it, and you get back together, right? So is it now okay for your partner to now use that particular situation of you cheating over and over again? Let's say when you guys are having an argument.
You see, that goes back to it'll be determined on forgiveness.
Kagiso
Did
actually
they,
needs to answer that question
did they forgive me?
because you're the one that doesn't believe in second chances.
Did they forgive me? If they forgave me,
I mean, you moved on.
did
so
we
you
bury the
forgive-
hatchet? Like there's a lot of questions that we need to first find out as to whether things took place. And if that is the case, if they did forgive me, then it's a choice that I or they would have made to still stick with me. But if you're gonna constantly bring it, then either you have not healed or this is going to be a lifetime reminder.
Do you
Well-
blame them though?
I don't.
Okay.
Hence, I said you chose to be with me still, so I can't necessarily say.
Get over it.
You can say get over it if you decide that
can't.
okay, you're gonna stay with me, or you're gonna stick with me in that period. You know what I mean? If I'm making a decision to be with you after you've cheated, yes, it's my decision. But if I can't take it anymore and I'm constantly going to look at you and think, nah, I can't do this. Like, you cheated on me. I can't look at you the same. I can't see you the same. I can't treat you the same. Then it means I'm no longer there and I must just exit. So to answer your question, I think it would be unfair for, especially in this cheating situation, because you've got a full-on choice to say, look, I've tried to live with this, but I just can't handle it.
Sure.
I'll always remember it. I'll always, even on happy days, it'll come in my mind, and it might just not allow us to have a peaceful mood. Because as
Yeah,
soon as
what-
I start thinking of it,
You're gonna bring it up.
I'm gonna start. It's either I'm gonna bring it up or my mood is gonna change completely.
And it also-
I'm gonna look at you as dirty. I'm gonna look at you as a cheat, and yeah, I'm gonna look at you in all negative eyes. You're gonna disgust me. You're gonna make me feel sick because of what I experienced and what you made me go through. So maybe I should not be with you.
It also means
because
you never
it's
really.
irreparable.
It means you also never really forgave that person.
Sure. That's true.
So you must remember, yeah, true. It also means you do not forgive them.
You know, for
But
me,
sometimes people say they will forgive you, but they'll not forget. And
they will never forget you, Billy.
yeah,
You know, for me, I do believe in second chances. No matter what you've done in life, right? The only problem comes with, because if you are going to say, oh, you're giving this person a second chance, that person must have maybe gone through something for themselves that would improve them from whatever that they were doing back then. Even if it means they need to go to jail in order for them to get to be a different person, right? The problem only starts when you start doing the same thing again. Then when
you are not sorry.
Nah.
You're not sorry about what you did.
Well, when in a case of Jub, unfortunately, we're gonna have to use him as a case study in this case. So, in a case of Jub, everyone was okay with him coming out and trying to rebuild his life, up until he got arrogant on TV, and then he started to see himself as that guy that he used to be when he was at his peak with his music. Started getting arrogant. Also, because he grew up as a cheese boy, so he was getting everything. So he always had this arrogance, right? Up until you get to that point of having that arrogance again, then we realize, well, okay, this nigga hasn't changed. Yes, this nigga has been showing us how he's changed, but up until he got to a certain point whereby he's getting recognition again, or he's getting the same amount of attention that he used to get, then he's going back to his arrogant self. Then we realize, we're still dealing with the same person.
Ish.
Then that's when we know, this one doesn't deserve our apology. This one actually feels like he didn't even go through rehabilitation back in there.
He doesn't deserve our forgiveness.
This one feels like he still needs to go and get rehabilitated inside. Send him back.
Send him back. That's intense.
So you need to, for me to see how you've changed, even if you used to be a murderer back in the day and you went to jail and you came out. For me, I need to see from the lifestyle that you live in now.
Actions.
When people feel guilty, they want to give back. If I see when you're trying to give back and you're trying to be this, you always trying to help people because you know who you've taken from people back then. Then you always want to help people. Then I know who this person has changed. Mara, if you're still doing then I know who this one. This one is probably still gonna smoke something and knock off kids again.
You guys think the people who should give a verdict of saying you've been rehabilitated, the people you wrong. So, for example, to Duke fans or people that come to him will feel like he has been rehabilitated. But then people who are not fond of him will feel like he needs to be rehabilitated.
The thing is, the people that you've wronged, a lot of them, they don't forgive. So
they'll always have an opinion of
they will never feel like you've gone through enough.
So, for example, if we use a party as an example, white people are always quick to say, get over it. It happened. It's the past. White people are always say, get over it how? I'm still suffering the act of what you guys have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you have two people, one saying, you know what, it's done. Let's move forward. And you have another people where they say, no, this is to get this. And both people have people that agree with it. So who's to say who has the verdict of saying this is what it is? The people that have been wrong, or the people that are not affected by what the people have been wrong, or you're affected by?
In that case, do you feel like the victim or the victim's family, they're the ones that should decide what would be an appropriate punishment for you in order for them to get over this thing?
But you must remember that can also turn into like lifetime punishment.
Sometimes they're gonna say
Because
they want
it
you to
goes-
die,
it goes-
They're not gonna.
Then it'll never.
Penalty, but to be honest, it's the same as a death penalty.
That's where it'll actually lead to.
Lead to
to
for
say it'll
most-
be like, you
yeah.
know what?
It's like and my job is just to take people out.
An eye for an eye.
After serving 5 years or 10 years, I'm rehabilitated. After the mayhem and damage of course.
But you may have been rehabilitated, my nigga.
Your actions spoke otherwise. Why do you have the opportunity to live, whereas in the people you've wronged, you did not award them that opportunity as well? Now I feel like the crime you do should be the punishment you face. So if you rape, you must be raped your life.
Hey.
So
I mean,
This
for most
thing is
people, it will
extreme.
be a suitable punishment because of, however they're feeling at that particular time. But let's say, for instance, someone actually does serve the time and actually does get rehabilitated, and they come out a different person, and they actually are remorseful for what they did, and they actually change as a person. So as Khwetsi said, it may be a lifetime thing, whereas let's say this person is very remorseful and is trying their best to, basically say sorry in a way, but obviously sorry can't bring that person back. So what happens when now, let's say that person has been doing well and change as a person, let's say they have that one slip up, then it goes back to the beginning again. Motho also change.
But you can't slip up if you've been rehabilitated.
But you're human.
You make mistakes.
You're human.
You understand? So
And that's another thing I was
can't
just
make
about to
it
say.
Not on
killing again.
not
Let's
on
weigh
killing
it.
again.
I think
eh?
it should also be weighed to say, how did this particular incident take place? Like Achisa just said, if you are a murderer, you are a serial killer practically. That is deliberate. There's nothing that is going to be questioned as to whatever, Yes, in Jub's situation, the issue here was drugs. Antoine. However, you must remember, that could have been somebody who was in their total sobriety that accidentally had this happening. Antoine. Fine. Drugs, maybe speed as well, was wrong in this particular Jub situation. However, this could have still have happened with somebody who was sober, and who was probably also, let's say, traveling at the right speed. And just by some unfortunate event, lost control of the vehicle, and it flew into whatever that it flew into, and this same outcome took place. So do you think maybe we should look at how that particular thing took place? Because at the end of the day, it's still going to be a case of...
If there's intention behind it, you need to go down.
Yeah, but
Definitely.
in Jub's situation, there wasn't intention.
Well, why are you smoking and then getting into your car?
That's what I'm saying. There was not intention.
Yeah, but why are you speeding in a residential area?
Yes, I understand.
That's intentional.
Okay.
I was talking about after. I can reserve the time. And then you mentioned earlier, Jorge, the moment he started being like arrogant again,
Yeah.
he didn't kill someone again. He just, his character,
It went back to the character that we
he
used to.
was before.
Then
this
you need to go
incident
back. He
happened.
clearly didn't learn anything.
Human being.
Go back.
Human being.
No, go back.
So even
Bruh,
if he didn't kill
you see, the
anyone, it's
thing
just
is,
a character thing.
You must remember.
You
Why
feel
are you getting
Jorge.
arrogant? You killed people.
So he must humble himself.
You have to for the
And
rest
then-
of your life.
Okay.
How do you think the family that you killed their children, one of the killing, ne? And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to compare the ones that have died and the ones that are left with their kids that they have to raise. Those kids are now adults. They're over 21, and those kids, they can't do anything for themselves. They can't even communicate
So it's a
because
lifetime.
the brain is damaged. Now you're thinking to yourself, oh, every time I look at this kid and Gishaba Chup Mole with a Chup Lamasuta Manning on TV every day, he's living his life.
So you feel like he's the same person he was before,
Disappear from the limelight.
go into hiding.
No, have a normal business or go to a normal job. Maybe saying disappear from the limelight is a bit too much because that's all he knows. He's been he's been on TV since he was a teenager. He was doing
Child.
adverts. He was
a
8
child, yeah.
since he was 8, right? But don't be arrogant. Don't be arrogant. Don't go to Make G's podcast and start saying, "Oh, nah, I've hit that. Nah, I've hit that." Nah,
But that's the
not-
human being element. You
It's
say,
not.
but man, some of these things now.
You've done something.
True, you've done something wrong.
Right to do that shit.
But who governs that right? To say now you must
You've
remember
killed
this
kids.
is your personality.
you've
This
killed
is who you
kids.
are. But Mamela, this is who you are. This is your personality.
Go and work on your personality.
What? You must change it.
Change it.
Oh, come on, my man.
My man, you've killed kids.
I understand, but I'm just saying, it's your personality. Currently, he'll be pretending.
Pretend.
it goes back to what KG was saying. Who needs to determine that this person needs to
I feel like
way in
Kagiso is
which-
right. You see, the victims or the
family.
of the victims, they need to. If they feel like Jub can't live his life, it's not working. Me? Oh shit. If the what did I want to say?
Families of the
Yes,
deceased
if the
feel
families they feel like this guy didn't go through that much, he needs to serve 50 more years.
my man,
Fucking
come
go
on.
back.
That is ridiculous. That
It's
is
not.
the most ridiculous thing.
You've taken from people.
But I understand. But the law decided that they're going to make you serve a particular sentence. That's why we have a law. Unfortunately, that's why I said it's going to be so. It's never going to be an. There'll never be an.
Apartheid was once a law.
There'll never be an end to your punishment if that was determined by
Law is
People.
people.
the person that was wronged. Unfortunately, I'm not saying what he did is right. I'm just saying that it's a bit tricky to say they should hold the because I know myself. If I'm pissed at something, if I was in that position, I'll be like, fuck, manskap, execution type of vibe. You know what I mean? But, like I said, there's a human error that took place here. And
Okay, look, man.
that's why I said maybe it should be measured. If it is a serial killer, yes, then by all
You know
means.
what a mistake is, man? Mistake is go, there's a child walking behind your car, you don't see him, you reverse. You kill that person. It's a simple mistake.
That's a mistake.
I understand. In this case, he fucked up. Yes, he didn't intend to kill those kids, but he intended on taking those drugs and raising them.
Yeah. You intended to drag race.
Because it was a bet.
I understand. The whole's wrong. I'm not disputing that. However, like I said, maybe it'll be better if it was measured on the incident. Like I said, if it was a serial killer who came in your home and killed you and your family's like, okay, then they can take that decision to say, fuck it, you did it intentional. There was no questions asked. You wanted this to happen. Whereas in his case, I still feel like, you know what? There is a mistake. It might not have been, yes, he was wrong. in
Yes,
taking
it was
drugs and
not.
speeding.
It was not intentional.
However, yes.
However.
And when it's not intentional, it's a mistake.
No, I feel like in Jub's
No.
case, I
It's a cold case.
I don't want to say intent, but there's a reason why they say don't drink and drive.
True.
You understand?
There
Because
is.
this is ultimately what's going to happen.
True.
So when he took those drugs and got in the car, he knew what might happen.
And he went to
It's just that he didn't expect those kids to be there at that time. He didn't expect the car to, whatever was happening with him in that car, to happen. But when you took those drugs, got in the car, you are not in your sober mind to drive. You know that.
True.
You could have crashed into a tree, and he himself could have died. In this case, he basically ulimaditse bana, knowing very well he's not in his sober mind. So in a way, it can be intent, because when you got in that car, you knew what the possibilities of anything that could have happened could happen, and it did happen.
Anyway, we can move.
But anyways, on a lighter topic,
It's a cold case.
It's a cold.
Nah, that's a hot case.
It's a hot
a
case.
cold
He needs
case.
to go back.
On a lighter note, guys, do you guys feel that it's okay for society to normalize choosing to be single and child free? You know, in this new generation, Gen Z, they are now choosing to be child free and to be single. Do you think that is good for society and the human race as a
It's not.
whole?
Definitely.
It's not.
Definitely.
Why do you think it's good to normalize this? Wait,
So I think, in our country, now I'm going to specifically refer to our country and maybe our continent as well. I just feel like it's probably the best curb to, or the best move to curb a lot of things, like fatherless children, like poverty. You know, there's a lot at stake with, you know, like an increased population. You know, I think we live in a time where population is exceeding what the resources or what the earth can actually give in terms of maybe.
Okay, can I ask who's determining that we are exceeding?
What the fuck?
Who's and another question would who is determining
Maybe the
that we
way
are
I started-
exceeding?
Maybe the way I started this was
Population.
not right. But look, I'm still for it.
Of course you are.
So look, I'm looking at it from this angle to say, in most cases, there's a lot of teenage pregnancies that take place or that took place maybe in our time.
Yeah, in our time it was crazy.
You know, it was ridiculous. And you must remember that on its own is coming from maybe families that are not well to do, meaning chances of that particular child that you bring onto this earth being in a comfortable growing environment are very limited or very close to non-existent. Antoine, this is going to bring things like I mentioned, the poverty, the ill health, the inability to just give this child a comfortable life. I'm very against bringing a child in this life where you cannot fend for them. I'm one person that feels like if you are going to bring a child into this world, then at least have a plan, because you must remember, as a child, that child is going to look at you as a parent and think, what were you thinking? And it's very unfair for that particular child. They did not bring themselves into this world, so why do they have to suffer? So that's the perspective that I'm looking at it from. And then come just other dynamics, such as maybe government welfare. You know, we have come to a point, and I think we're very aware in the country as well, that we've come to a point where, you know, the social grants might be taking a bit of a toll because of other maybe abusive approaches to it, because you get a lot of corruption that's also taking place. You get other maybe wrong
But that has
citizenship.
nothing to do with the people that birthed those kids, the
What?
corruption and everything.
It
the
does,
social
like, bro.
grants.
If let's say, for instance, I'm gonna give you nationality in a country that you don't belong nationality in, that is corruption. That is affecting the country.
Oh, you mean that?
Yes, that's what I mean. To say, if I'm gonna have an influx of, like, let's say, for instance, 50 babies in a day that are not proper nationals in the country,
Nah, that one is very simple. Send them back.
that's the thing. That doesn't happen. There's corruption. There's
But that-
corruption. So
that-
meaning, remember, there's census. They go out there, they calculate, they determine how many people in a household, how many people belong in the country, and you name it. Then, all of a sudden, there's a spike of just unknown people that have the
Send those
right
people back.
to
That-
resources
Going back to what Lisoro said, that's the issue that the government,
can't handle.
Yeah, that
they
one has
need
nothing
to
to
fix.
do with
It
the
has
people
nothing
that
to
are
do.
having kids.
Yeah, it's the government.
What I
that
want
needs
to say
solve
about
it.
this situation is, now I am for this thing of having kids and not this thing of not having kids and remaining single. For me,
Oh, I didn't answer the single part, but I'll come back to that.
yeah, for me, the family structure is a thing. Obviously, for me, you have to be in a relationship or be married in order for you to be able to have a kid, because the kid will come into a proper structure. The point that Huitsuan was making about what if that kid is coming into a poverty stricken family and whatever. That's an economic issue. There's no jobs. It's because of the fucking economy, and the fucking government is not doing shit about it, right? It has nothing to do with the people that are having this kid. Sometimes we want to have this kid because we have planned for this kid. We might do what we can for this kid, obviously what we can is not going to be enough because we don't have proper jobs.
You're going back to the government.
But the fucking government is not playing his part. We're doing what we can. But not having enough opportunities to have a job to provide for this kid is not a reason for me not to have this kid. It's definitely not reason. And for me, I will always advocate for a family structure and then kids. Because it makes sense. This thing of Banaba, no, they don't want to have kids. Most of them, they just had one kid. Mochutare, I don't want any other kids. My nigga, what the fuck?
No, that's okay. That's their choice.
You know, in this case,
Well, it is their choice. I mean,
I
I can't
agree
do
with you,
anything about
NSG.
it.
I agree with you. The whole essence of being a human is to procreate.
Dog.
There's no other reason
Imagine
to.
My
Because
father,
if we go with
can I just say this now? Sorry, my dog. My father passed away last year. I'm the only Moses that's left. Imagine Joshua, and that's it.
so
Moses.
if Rivaka analogy ya Khoiti, that means 95% of us wouldn't be alive, and like none of us would be alive.
No, guys.
Because
No.
if you look at the family structures, even batho ba tshwanang le Petrus Motsepe or your rich folks, before they were rich, they probably come from poverty-stricken homes. You find his father or his father's father. If they decided, I'm not having kids because I don't have financial means,
They would
none
have
of
never
us
had
would
a
exist if
billionaire
we
in your
really look
family.
at it. Yeah, none. I mean, even Elon Musk, you find his great-great-grandparents had to go in a train or walk, I don't know how long, in order to make ends meet, or whatever the case is. There's never a perfect situation or scenario to do anything. And if you look at countries where they where they have a decay in childbirth, they're trying to reverse that. Some of them even incentivize people for having kids.
Yeah.
Because now that means the extension of
Population,
the
race,
human
yeah.
the human race is because now you have a population where you have elderly people as opposed to young people. Society can't function with old people. Society always strives with younger people.
True.
One of the reasons black people has always been so resilient, it's not us always fighting, but it's because we procreate. And the younger generation generally takes on the challenges and proceed and continue.
So, you know what I'm against? I'm against, firstly, like I said, I'm against bringing a child to this world and not necessarily having a plan. And when you look at the likes of, I think, China, where they actually now have started controlling the amount of children that you can actually have because of the population. Because if it's not governed by the people to say, look, this is what I can afford, this is what I can give for now, until maybe circumstances change, and then maybe I can have another child if I can afford it. It becomes a mess, and it ends up now becoming a situation like China,
So you want
where you're
people to
overpopulated.
qualify to have kids.
To be honest with you, it will reach to that extent if people are not going to be responsible. It comes with a lot of responsibility. You can't just wake up in the morning like, oh, I feel like having a child. Let me have a child. You must remember you're bringing a human being in this world, and you must also be able to treat this particular child like a human being. And yes, we would not be living if our parents were not, engaging in trying to reproduce. Antoine. We wouldn't. But now, back then, things might have just been a little better. Currently, I think there was a spike in just population. And that's why, Kere, you end up just not being able to have resources to cater for that population.
People
And I'm
that go with
talking
this
agriculture. I'm talking everything. That is just the cycle of life. So that's where I'm at around why I feel like, hey, let's just be more responsible. And maybe the new era of not wanting to have children could actually just be looked at as a more, not even more, but a responsible approach, as opposed to just getting out there and
Bro,
finding
the
yourself.
people today, they don't want to have no kid. It's not
Okay,
even a
there's
responsible approach.
reason. There's
We
reason.
are going instinct.
No, we are far from that, bro.
We
Very
will.
far from that. It is possible if it continues. Maybe the next generation.
What next generation?
No, but look, no, we are far
Okay,
from
go
extinct.
back. Go to the single one.
So, I think they are both choices. The single one could just be sparked from not wanting to
Do
get
you
hurt.
agree with it or not?
I don't, because I just feel like companionship is a very good thing, and yeah, it is something that everybody eventually wants.
You know, one
Not
of
everybody.
No, you don't want companionship.
Not me, but not everybody.
Yeah, well,
everybody.
it is
But in this
everybody.
case, I agree with G.
People.
My man.
We are social creatures, Joe.
We are
No,
social
what I'm saying,
creatures.
what I'm saying is, not everyone wants it. Some people just want to be single so that they can just be free and sleep around.
Not necessarily. They might
Bro.
want to be free, but there will come a time when they're like, you know what? I want companionship now. It's a phase. It's not necessarily
Oh, it's a
something
phase.
that's going to be lifetime.
It's like when I'm gonna buy a Bugatti to speed every day, all day. Yes, you're gonna have moments where let me test this. We test it, but it's, as humans, we are social creatures. We yearn for companionship.
Yeah.
You can be you have now, where you can have 60 girls in your mansion, but you're gonna yearn for companionship. Same reason with kids. A lot of them, over 98% of them, I might be exaggerating, but a lot of people, once they get to the age of 40 or where they're not in ability to reproduce, they fall into great depression and they get extremely sad, because now, like, as Keisha, it's the foundation of just being human in jail. So I say fitile now, bruh, it's fucked. I think people that come with that statement, or they don't want kids and they prefer to be single. It's
a
people
phase.
at their peak. Like, they're
phase.
still very young. So they enjoy friends and all that. But what happens now, we're in our 50s. We all have our families, and she's single. Doesn't have any kids.
That'll be fucked up. But anyway.
To what?
But what KG is saying is true. That
I'll move in. I'll be the uncle in the house.
But what KG is saying is true, that we are social creatures in a way, because now, as much as you can have everything, there's that one thing that you crave. You can have all the money in the world, but you're going to crave even the smallest thing, like a hug,
Yeah.
Yay.
some connection with another human. Even if
You
it's
know-
not love, friendship.
True.
You know, there's people that hire escorts just to speak to them,
Exactly. So
just to cuddle.
there's something missing. They have the
Because
money to pay
it's
for
missing,
them,
yeah.
but they don't have that element of the connection that they can have.
That is why, for me, those two things, being single and the kid, they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Just get your person and have a kid.
No.
Because
Wrong,
commitment
It's wrong street squad.
eventually,
He's not in
Kwesi,
his total sobriety. It's a wrong statement. Do not listen to that. I tell you now, I'm warning you. Terrible.
Kwesi, if you look at it, ne? Companionship with a romantic partner, essentially, when you guys get together, at some point there's going to be a baby involved.
There
if you're
may
not
be.
taking the necessary measures to
There may
prevent,
be. No,
and even
besides-
if you're taking those
This guy
necessary,
doesn't want kids.
even if you
No, I'm
don't-
not saying that.
even if you're taking those
Sounds like
necessary
you're saying it.
steps to like prevent from you having a kid, remember those things are not 100%. You can still fall pregnant while you're on contraceptives, right?
Yeah.
So companionship with a romantic partner is gonna lead to, that stage where a kid is gonna be involved.
Only by nature, but
But when it comes to kids,
it could be. No, I-
could be what?
No, my man, I'm not against kids, guys. I will eventually have kids when the time is right, But it's not always the case to
There'll
say
never be a time that is right.
some
You make the
people
time right.
really enjoy each other as just partners. To be like, you know what, nah, I love your company. You are everything that I just want to give attention to.
Until
If a
one of
kid
them
comes in the
dies.
picture right now, this kid is gonna bore the fuck out of us. We
Until
are no
one of
longer
you guys
gonna be
dies.
who we are.
Until one of you die,
Then what?
then it's over for you. You're single.
Then you find another
Yes.
one.
Here's the thing about that. That's the whole topic.
the
People
whole
wanting to
thing.
be single because, let's say your partner passes away,
That
and this is
sounds
the
like you
one
want to
person
be
you had
single.
connection with.
Yeah,
You
but-
won't want to You won't want to find another person because now you're still stuck on that other person. This is the person I've had the greatest romantic connection with,
That's
and
the
I'm
before-
choosing to stay single because I don't think I want to start over again or
Maybe
want
that's
to.
what sparks it. That's why the reason, we also need to know what the reason is for this. It could be a valid reason, and it could actually make sense and change your view.
Which reason?
The why they don't want to have kids,
or be single.
or why they want to be single. Now, my thinking on the single part would probably be maybe there's just so much fake relationships that are taking place. They don't want to find themselves in this situation of being with somebody who doesn't love you, being with somebody who ends up just breaking your heart. Because heartbreak is something that is very difficult to overcome in most
My nigga,
But there's
places.
life after
And you must
heartbreak.
also remember,
risks.
in most cases, people make decisions because of past experiences. So these could have actually just been past experiences or just observation.
Life is all about taking risks.
Nah, you're not going to take a risk.
There was
of
life
having
before
a
that
child.
You
person,
have to.
and there's life after
No,
that
not having a
person.
child.
So if you're gonna be stuck on that heartbreak, you're not gonna move forward as a
No,
person.
of course, you're not going to move forward, but you must tread carefully,
Definitely, that means
and that's just how the human works.
that
So you
means
are
like
gonna
Lesotho
tread
saying, taking a risk and finding a new partner.
My
I
carefully.
mean-
It's a risk having multiple children, but you're talking about being single.
I get it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but what Lesotho was saying is correct. Like life is about taking risks, and it even goes as far as in relationships. It's about taking risks because, as I said before, there was life before that person. There's life after that
After
person.
them, yeah,
Bro,
true.
you buy a car, you get into an accident, you get traumatized. Are you telling me you're not buying another car? Because
That's
you
a
might get
different
into-
scenario.
No, it's the same scenario.
Not necessarily.
You have to take that risk again.
Well, it's not really okay. Well, everything is a risk, but
That's exactly what I'm saying. Take another risk.
yeah, you will take another risk. But I'm just saying that, hey, there are risks that you need to really calculate, and there are those that you don't
Of
necessarily.
course, you're gonna
need to
calculate. You're not gonna be vulnerable or naive anymore. So you just.
That's what I mean.
Better.
To say you're gonna tread carefully, you're gonna like gradually get into it, and you know. But I feel like the relationship part could also just be sparked by the type of society that we live in. You know, we live in a very plastic society where you know everything just wants to be easily tangible, easily accessed, and just people just don't care anymore.
It's temporary.
Yeah, it's temporary. There's
You know-
there's no touch of
If there's one thing,
human.
if there's one thing that Kagiso once said is that the fucked upness of relationships is always displayed on social media. The ones that are having genuine relationships, they don't really post that much about it on social media, about how much of a good time they're having in their relationships. And there's probably the same number of people, if not more. There's more people that are having genuine relationships. But because Umjolo is a pandemic, is so highlighted on social media, it looks like that's all it is. That time there's more people that are in genuine relationships.
To a
Meaning,
point-
there's more people that are still willing to have that genuine relationship.
And because now social media has painted that picture, hey, Mjolo wa Nyesa, when people with genuine relationship come on social media to explain, no, this is we have a beautiful relationship together. It makes people hard to believe, there's actually genuine relationships
Yeah,
out
sometimes
there.
they say, we're forced.
Well, for say,
Oh.
it's gonna end in tears.
Yeah, it's gonna end in tears.
Yeah,
Like, what the fuck?
end in tears.
So
The problem for me is how quick people are to advise you to break up.
I think that's projection.
That's because they're not happy in their own lives.
So that's
It's just experiences, eh?
no. What I'm saying is that if that's the case, you're gonna break up with everyone.
You're right. No, you've got a point.
Obstacles.
True. No, you're right to say in a situation of that nature. I think people, like you say, they project. People also have their past experiences, and whenever they hear something that sounds similar to what they have probably just gone through, they are now quick to just react and say and give you what they would have done. Antoine. So it and unfortunately you are right. That's actually what happens nowadays. To say you come with the smallest issue that you have in your relationship, and the person that you're relating, whatever issue that you're having, is very quick to be like, dismiss, get out of there.
That's what I'm saying. It's projection.
It's not, yeah.
Because they never really healed from whatever they went through. So now they're thinking, Hori, when you're going to go through the same thing. You're going to go through the same thing that I went through.
Just get out of there right away type of thing.
Yeah.
So
that it goes back to when we're saying that, these type of relationships, they're like temporary. They're not really genuine.
Yeah, it's sad, eh?
Yeah, it's very sad. So do you guys think hookup culture is ruining those genuine relationships?
It is. That's why Huitone sounds like this.
I don't think it really is ruining it.
Of course he wouldn't.
Let me tell you why. I think hookup culture, and I think we spoke about this, but I think hookup culture is very straightforward. It prevents heartbreak. It prevents lies. It prevents the bullshit. Rather know what you're going in there for.
He sounds very for it.
No, I'm just saying, but it makes sense. It only makes sense.
I think
be with somebody that you know what you're in there for. You know how many niggas are out there raising children that aren't theirs because of people who lied to them, because of people who just decided to be like, no, I love you, but only to find out that they're fucking around. Now you're raising a child that's not even fucking yours.
Okay, the reason why I don't agree...
You can't say those niggas are dumb because those niggas are sitting there
agree with you.
Thinking that these are their children.
I don't agree with you because in the beginning you said hookup culture is straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think it's one-sided. Because now you can be straightforward with me.
Yeah.
Net to say, listen, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Sharp. Then in the beginning, sharp, we both agree. We do the deed together. Then when you come back and now you're giving me these signals, how? Signals there might be something more than that.
You want to be serious.
You want to be serious. Like, let's say we hooked up, fine.
Yeah.
I'm with another person. Now you want to come and question me, what am I doing with this person? You have no right to ask me that question because we made an agreement to say, we are just hooking up.
Yeah.
So I feel like the reason why it's ruining long-term relationships because now it's one-sided. Only one as understanding what hookup culture is. We are just hooking up.
Sometimes the hookup thing, it's likely to lead into one of you guys catching feelings. And unfortunately, once one of you catches, it's going to fucking end in tears.
But okay, the disclaimer was there. The disclaimer was there from the initial
besides the disclaimers. So what in psychology and whatnot they found is that if a person is hooked up more, whether male or female, has had casual hookups or whatever the case is, the likelihood of them committing in a relationship is very slim. Because now, remember, that's why the older generation, buddy, getting married when you're a virgin and all that, they most likely to thrive because now this is the only person you know.
Yeah.
Unlike now, you meet up this person, you're going to compare them with what your ex used to do that you liked, or how this one used to treat you, or
there's multiple. Now there's a lot of options.
So now it's difficult to settle because now, like LSG was saying in the previous episode, is what happens if now this person ticks all your boxes, but you don't like this one thing? That's what will then make trigger you, outside and fetch it from someone who has that one box your partner isn't ticking. So does hookup culture ruin relationships? Definitely. It shouldn't be an option, or it shouldn't be a thing.
So you think, Jorge, this thing of having options,
no,
Kanti, if you only had probably one or two partners in your entire fucking 20s, then you don't have a lot of references that you need to keep on referring to in terms of your new relationship?
Having options is it's fine, but utilizing or using those options is a problem.
So what I'm saying is, you feel like not having that many long-term relationships and not being involved in this hookup culture, it gives you a better chance of having a long-term relationship,
Yeah.
other than you just hopping into relationships or hooking up with different
Yeah.
girls. Then you're always gonna want to have something that you once had.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. When Unkari Medi, who has a decorated CV in hookups.
Of course not.
Yabo?
I was having
Case
this
closed.
conversation yesterday.
Case closed. I don't need to know your reasons, ne? But I can tell you 90% of guys will say no. And because of that reason, that is the reason why people that do casual hookups do not last in relationships.
And you know the crazy part about this fucking whole thing is that you get on TikTok and you see a girl writing there, "Oh, today I'm ending things with my hookup," and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing? Why are you fucking telling us?" And this girl, I once saw this, like literally from a girl on TikTok. She's in fucking varsity, and she's saying, "Oh, today I'm ending things with my hookup." She's posting even screenshots of their conversation. And I'm like, she's really doing it. And you can tell there, one of the conversations, this girl is telling this guy, "Who, when you only want to see me at night."
Fucking duh. That's the purpose of a hookup. But that's when they catch feelings. That's when they catch feelings.
And essentially, I feel like hookup culture is how relationships in this society, it's very hard to find like a genuine relationship because of hookup culture. Because now, going back to what Lisa was saying, having options. It's okay to have options when you're dating. You know, you're still looking around, shopping, window shopping here and there. But to have options, some people think even when they get into committed relationships, they still think they have options. That's where their hookup culture mentality still stays in their head. You know what? I had options back then. I still feel like I have options even when I'm in this relationship. So I feel like that alone can ruin long-term relationship. Like you found someone that is good to you and you literally have a genuine connection with this person. You love this person. But because you still have that hookup mentality to say, I can still go out there and do, you know, I don't have to commit to those people, but I can still go out there because I have options. I feel like that's what's ruining the society's relationships because of options.
It is. You know,
Shit,
I
really.
always feel like, you know, when you're dating a girl, you know, girls, they always have niggas in their DMs. You
Not
know,
always.
Niggas that are talking to themselves in the DMs.
Yeah, talking to themselves.
So whenever a girl, you're probably in a relationship with a girl and you fucking have a conflict, you guys have an argument, she's always gonna act like someone that has options. That time it's just niggas that are talking to themselves. She hasn't entertained any of them. And then she knows once she does give attention to one of them, it's on. And she doesn't even know what the fucking intention of that nigga is. He probably just wanna hit. Because you just one of the girls that he said, when are you thinking, this nigga wants you? Nah, this nigga doesn't fucking want you. You just one of the people that he has on his list. Oh, okay, this is my list for 2025. I need to get these ones. One chance nyana that I get with this one, I just need to make sure I play the part whenever she's gonna come to me and start venting about how bad things are in her relationship. Just gonna listen. Just gonna tell her that fuck that nigga. That nigga is a dick. Let me take you out. Actually, let's speak about it through lunch. How about we do spare ocean basket? Then you think, this nigga is carrying. This nigga is better than the nigga that I'm currently dating. He hits. Then you see a nigga ghosting me. So girls are always feel like girls. They think they have options. They probably do. But most of the
Temporary options.
We do have options.
most of the time, niggas just wanna hit. I'm telling
In
you.
most cases, yeah.
I'm telling you, niggas just wanna hit. You do find those ones, and the ones that you don't find appealing, those are the ones that have good intentions. They just want to date you for who you are. But the ones that look and sound like who is you on? What the fuck? Fucking red flags.
And we go after
This
them.
guy.
We fall head over heels for them.
And you will. You will.
You will.
You think who is one fucking has good intentions?
I do have good
Fucking dick.
intentions. What the fuck? What are you painting, sir?
You over to me. Why so pretty?
Yo, bro, this guy, bro. Yo, he's mopping the floor in my fucking behind, my man. Yes, says.
Yeah, but also you see this thing of thinking you have options is this one thing that has ruined things.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you always think you can do better, and then sometimes you can't.
You can't.
You getting most 95% of the things from this guy, and you think you can. There's a guy in your DMs that you can get 100%. You're only gonna get 40% from all of them.
Definitely.
You dump this guy, then the next thing,
And then you regret.
couple of months later, you just hit up this guy and start trying to make small talk again, and then this guy is not even entertaining you. He's just looking at your text, and he's thinking, "Oh fuck, I know who about disappoint you." You know, as a guy, you get a girl that feels like they've moved on and they found a better person, or they probably thought, "Oh, this person that they were entertaining is a better person." You know, a girl got disappointed when they start hitting you up.
Not always, Clay.
Nah, why are you hitting
Why are
me
you
up?
hitting me up? Yeah.
You moved on.
You moved on, yeah.
Live your life.
I mean, with us girls, it's the same thing because we have this understanding where men always come back. Why are you coming back? It's the same with men and women. It's the same.
No, but why are you hitting me up if you decided to bounce?
Bro, and you the one that probably bounced. And
Yeah.
I was like, it's fine. I'm not gonna stand in your way. I love myself, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna beg you for anything. I mean, if you wanna leave, the door is open. No one is. I don't know motho supileng ka stule. But why are you hitting me up then?
Because they were
I mean, if I was-
disappointed.
Because?
They were disappointed.
Who? By who?
Exactly.
Wherever they went.
Exactly.
It's the same thing with women. Batlang. Go itse o batlang yaanong.
Haona batho ba na le, and I'm sorry to say this to you now, but haona batho ba na le a bad judge of character like that girls. They always misjudge your character.
Nah?
I won't speak for all girls, but I'll speak for myself. I would say I agree.
Misjudge your character, and you think, this guy looks like a good guy.
He makes
The
me
next
feel
thing he doesn't
good.
even tell you he's got 6 kids.
Yo.
He's not even taking care of any of them.
Besides that, about you find out he's actually married, and then you question.
Why did you-
Even worse.
Why did you say 6 kids? So you're saying having kids is bad?
No.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
So why are you saying 6 kids? Why are you
He's
making
not
that
taking-
example?
He's hiding those kids. That means he's not a good
He's
guy.
not a good person. Some men do that actually. They come into your life, you know, like they are a bachelor. Mind you, he's a husband who has 6 kids.
For an example, if I know who this girl, she's my type, and I do know who she doesn't have a kid, and she only wants to date niggas that don't have kids, I'm fucking hiding my kids.
There's men like that.
I'm hiding my kids until she gets hooked.
Nah?
And then once she gets hooked, I'm telling her I've got 6 kids.
And she
she's
won't
going
back
to fucking
down.
cry for
She's
a
gonna
month.
cry, but she's gonna. Some of them will make an exception to say, because I love him,
Of course.
I'm gonna love him with his kids.
Of course.
Then there's some women
You know,
that say, hell no.
When a girl loves you, when a girl has fallen in love with you, she's going to change her decisions.
Yes.
If that girl says, I don't want to have kids anymore, they probably have 1 kid, or they don't have any kids. I don't want to have kids. Get her hooked. She's going to want to have 4 kids with you.
Lies and
I'm
deception.
telling you.
It's the only way to get a woman
I'm
hooked.
telling you.
Nah.
Yeah, it's the only. Like if I was a guy, you know,
Thank
every
guys
time
for teaching me this.
sometimes when I look at it, I'm like,
Master of bitching.
sometimes when I look at it, I'm like, you know what? If I was a gent, I was like, it's the easiest thing to do, to lie and deceive.
Lie,
her.
lie,
Get
lie.
her
lie.
hooked. For like it's so easy to do that to a woman because honestly, we just want like a good connection and love. Why not
And
give her
that's
what
all
she
you-
wants?
And guys can do that.
They can do.
If
They can
want
fake
to.
it. They can fake it. Goethe, they can fake it.
I'm learning.
Sefo.
I'm learning.
Khwezi, don't take ideas here.
I'm
ne?
taking
No,
notes.
no, no,
He's
don't
doing
take
it.
notes.
He's not taking
The
it.
fuck you mean I'm taking?
Shit.
I'm taking notes. You gave me these notes. Oh,
Because like you can see, you know, he's like, okay, yeah, taking notes. But there's men that actually do that, honestly, and that's why I said I'm not gonna speak for all women. From my past experiences, I would say I'm a bad judge of character when it comes to men,
nah.
because obviously, if he's telling me what I want to hear,
Yeah, you
I
wanna
like
go
the
with
sound
it.
of it. I'm gonna
And
go with
I
it.
don't even blame girls for being a bad judge of character. I am telling you right now, a nigga can get into character for anything that he wants.
Yo,
He will.
He
make
will.
sure that guy.
Oscar nominee.
He's not rich.
Hey,
he will
boss.
definitely look rich.
Yes, for you.
Just for you.
Just for you.
Just because he knows who. When you just want guys with money
man.
and everything.
One thing about guys, they will study you. If they want you, they will study you.
And a guy knows how to make a plan. So if he's not rich, trust me, he's going to make a plan for like a good 2 months. He's probably thinking, maybe he knows how on average, he just needs maybe like 3 weeks to get you hooked. He's going to make sure he's got things planned for the 3 weeks. Once you hooked, then you know my nigga stays in the back room in Kharangu.
Marota maga GTI, so when you apara sona, you know,
There
so
you
he
go.
looks rich, you know, he is rich. And then you go for it.
When we talk about master manipulators, niggas.
Oh, shame. They mastered the game.
Ah.
It is only on rare occasions where women can actually, you know, pick up or match those type of niggas' energy to say, when I want I mean, I can't activate that side of myself because I'll say I'm a lover girl, but there's those women that they are really hardcore. You can't play them. You really can't play them.
Kokas, especially girls that come from Kokas. Those ones are too streetwise.
Bamo.
Oh, they're very streetwise, those ones. You will think you're playing her. Kanti, she's playing you.
She's playing you.
By the time you think, okay, now the mission is over, she's hooked, you realize,
You're the one that's hooked.
Yo.
You're the one who you know, it's around this the whole time. And then you realize you've spent a good 25,000 on her. If it's our level, our shopika, maybe or on one of your places, and then you realize she stole your jewelry, and then she disappeared. And then until when you're just requesting for her, and you're just requesting from a different place, she doesn't even stay there. You don't even fetch her because you don't even come.
Oh, you requesting for
I did think
her own
that's the one,
boyfriend to your place. We're not
Yes.
talking. That's her home. Kantiki, it's her boyfriend's place to your place. We're not talking.
Obana banyana that you can't hustle, it's banyana that are hustlers. You can't hustle.
You
those
can't.
ones.
You can't.
The ones that you sometimes you feel like this one was easy to pick up from a club. If it's too good to be true, it really is. If you feel like you approach this girl and then you shy, and then you feel like, man, when I'm out with so you don't even tell me you have work tomorrow, so you can't go with me. You effort in you just agree. When I didn't but spike and then you take my things.
Umom sebenzini phela. Wena outside, you're not aware.
I did think teachers abanyana
Yeah. And I won't lie, in a way I do admire them because like
Syndicate.
Kiss indicate.
it's a career. It's a career. Go to the club now.
After
Look up
spiking
and
you, they call their niggas.
You know, funny you're saying this. The other day, maybe like a few weeks ago, I was at an establishment and I was with my boy and I'm just chilling, mole. Some chiquita comes through. It's like, hello, hey, whatever. He's throwing a few nice words at me, whatever. And cool, whatever. I'm continuing. Boy comes to me like, hey, boy, there.
Play fair.
Yeah, don't even entertain. You see that nigga chilling there? And
They're
I'm like,
together.
they're together. So they are part of a syndicate. They're gonna rob the fuck out of you. So don't even think about, taking numbers or giving her your numbers. Just, play it cool, but yeah. And I was like, fuck, that shit actually exists.
Anyway, you can close the show, sir.
Are we done?
Yeah.
Done.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit. All right. Street Squad, thank you very much for tuning in. We're going to be doing the same thing again next week, same time, same place. And we are out of here.